character died when she fell off the roof after Ghostface chased her. She would probably be, what's the job when you're an adult but you still act like you're president of sorority and you constantly go back and pretend like you're still in college but really you have no right to be there? My favorite would definitely be afternoon coffee when they would come out with the fresh cappuccinos and espressos.
He said, "Do you think that you could scream just a little louder?" I was in my office, and all of a sudden, from behind me, this man in the mask, the killer, came up and stabbed me several times. And I had tubes coming up my shirt and with slits in my shirt. Wes Craven, who is the brilliant director, the late, great Wes Craven, he said, "Do you think that you could scream just a little louder?" I said, "I can do that." So we had to change and clean up and get my blood off. And then all of a sudden, boom. Then he took a picture of my eye, which was maybe the longest shot I've ever been part of, in order to get the reflection of the killer in my eye when I died. Oh, I would be superintendent of schools and still be, not capable. Craft service is always my favorite table. Now, because of the pandemic, at the craft service table, you have to bring your own treats. But the mid-morning meal, and if it were a mid-morning meal of Indian food, I would be ecstatic. But then I've worked on productions where the entire treat table is a can of Pringles.
When you're getting shot in a movie, there's something called a squib that they put on you that like explodes. And they put one right next to my Unfortunately, he died a very painful, violent death. Yeah, his own girlfriend, Jill, first shot him in the nuts, as it goes. And then headshot, just ow, a 1-2 punch. Funny enough, Nev Campbell, who you know and who has been in all the Scream movies, when you're getting shot in a movie, there's something called a squib that they put on you that like explodes. And they put one right next to my and Nev comes up to me before the shot and is like, "Yo, Nico, this is my 4th one of these movies and I would never do what you are about to do." So we got that going. I was like well prepared going into that scene. I feel like he would probably team up with Dewey, a solid little partnership, and seek revenge and try to protect his own town. I think that like Dewey Trevor duo would be solid. I'm gonna think a little outside the box here, and I would just say the cast, the people, specifically Hayden Panettiere and Emma Roberts, and Rory. We all got really close on that movie, spent a lot of time together, as I'm sure you are well aware. Casts have to get really close really quickly. That's how we tell good stories.
Hi, Drew. This is my cat, Peach. We're such big fans of your show. The way you feel about Marie Kondo is the way we feel about you. It's a little creepy. Wait, Scream. I actually met my wife on the set of Scream 4, so that's cool. But the questions. He was stabbed in the heart by his girlfriend. She broke his heart. If he hadn't been killed, I think he would be in jail because he was stabbing people too, and you just can't do that kind of thing. My favorite treat at craft services was Twizzlers or Red Vines. I don't really discriminate. Okay, we gotta go, but bye.
He needed everything he could get his hands on, because I was a handful. Well, I was doing a little investigating in an Airstream trailer, I think, and I was attacked from behind by the Scream character, Ghostface. Am I saying that right? I thought it was a little too violent. Maybe those movies are supposed to be. They're supposed to be violent, aren't they? It was probably just fine. This is a good, long knife. He was just like stabbing me in the back. He needed everything he could get his hands on, because I was a handful. I wasn't going down easy. It was pretty brutal. Well, I was doing security for Parker Posey's character. I think I probably would have done very well in the security field and ended up doing security for either the Kardashians or Britney Spears. You know, I would have been like that guy. I just like to think that I had a lot going for me as a security guard. 25 years ago, what was I eating? I was eating anything and everything back then, probably. Coffee? I mean, I'll have a good cup of coffee all throughout the day and before I go to bed even, maybe. I don't know, probably. Could have even been donuts back in the day. It's gotten too long. My answer's gotten too long for a simple question.
A character dies horribly on the street. So basically my character dies horribly in the street of a stabbing, okay? After doing her best to tell Sydney, please, we need to go. He's gonna get us. We need to run. We need to get away. Stupid people go back. Smart people run. We're smart people, so we need to get out of here. But she wants to go back. I end up stabbed. Oh, wow. Hopefully being in more sequels. That's what Elise thinks. But, you know, we never really got into depth of what her job was, what her goals were. You know, we were in college and, you know, who knows? Maybe she was definitely a badass and had a lot of, you know, chutzpah. So who knows what she would have been doing, but it would have been great to be alive. I don't remember really, honestly, no, but most craft services, when it's been a hit movie, is just ridiculously dope, with lobster and all types of treats and all types of delicious things that we're not supposed to eat to look as cute as we are in our outfits. It's usually a lot of great stuff that you're not supposed to eat.
If Jenny didn't get sliced, in Scream 4, my character Jenny met her demise after being stabbed, falling down a flight of stairs, getting crushed under a garage door, and ultimately being offed by the iconic Ghostface. If Jenny didn't get sliced, I imagined she would be putting her brains and brawn to good use and would be out in the community fighting voter suppression in the lead up to the November 3rd election. The craft service team on Scream one night brought out these hot apple cider cinnamon donuts, and they were seriously amazing.
Played Robbie Mercer. I was stabbed in the back and the stomach by Ghostface himself because I was too distracted looking at my phone, watching my own live stream. And I tried to get out of the murder by confessing that I was gay because by Robbie's theory, if you're gay, you survive a horror movie, which we all know is not true. But if there's a life lesson to take out of it, it's, you know, get off your phone, Pay attention to the world around you. You never know what may happen. If Robbie were still alive today, he would be one of the biggest social media influencers out there. He would be on Facebook, TikTok, Instagram. I mean, he was ahead of the game with the whole live streaming thing. So he would have millions of followers, driving his lime green Lamborghini. That, or maybe become a horror movie director. Maybe something autobiographical based on his experience. Either way, he would turn his experience into a cash cow somehow. My favorite treat from Kraft will always be a nice cold can of Coke. For breakfast, in the morning, in the afternoon, does not matter, it's always a treat. That, and with Scream, they would put out a candy tray in the afternoon, so I would take a few chocolate almonds.
It's probably one of the more gruesome deaths of all, which again, I go back to, I'm like, she didn't deserve it. Olivia died a very sad death, in my opinion, because I can't figure out why she deserved it in the first place, honestly. I feel like she was a sweet girl. She needed some humbling maybe in there, but, you know, she didn't deserve death. She was next door to Jill and Kirby. Jill and Kirby were watching Shaun of the Dead together. They gave me a call, invited me to come up. There was no way I was coming up. I didn't want to have anything to do with Jill, considering her cousin in that whole situation. So Trevor then calls Jill. Jill gets a phone call. It says it's from Trevor, but it's not really Trevor. So it's this Ghostface voice. And of course, Kirby, who answers the phone for her, doesn't believe that this is Ghostface. She's kind of playing around until Ghostface says, I know you're watching Shaun of the Dead. And that's when things get really real. That's when the girls know, okay, he knows what we're watching. No, this is definitely not Trevor at this point. So Kirby is brave, you know, her brave self, and she's like wanting to figure out who this is and show yourself to me. And ultimately, Ghostface says, I'm in the closet. So Kirby walks up to the closet and bravely opens it. Ghostface is not there, to which he says, I'm not in your closet. And that's when next door you see Olivia Morris just get totally taken down by Ghostface. She puts up a pretty good fight though, I'm not gonna lie. Like, she gets stabbed in the hand and thrown around and all of that, but she ultimately gets stabbed in the stomach several times and is completely gutted. And it's probably one of the more gruesome deaths of all, which again, I go back to, I'm like, she didn't deserve it, but hey, that's what happens, you know? We think she would have become a psychologist based on all of the traumas that she's gone through in her life. You know, I feel like people, they go through to do that self-healing journey and ultimately then end up helping others. In her ways of trying to make sense of Jill's logic for killing all her friends and family because her boyfriend cheated on her, I think she probably would have become a psychologist. Made by Trader Joe's. I don't know the exact name of it, but it's a specific type of granola, and they're these little circles, and they have cranberries in them, and then these little pellets of random things, and I still eat them today. That's where my journey with those began, and pretty much everybody close in my life knows that those are like a staple piece for me.
I'm W. Earl Brown. I played Kenny, and I died in the first movie trying to save Nev from Ghostface. I was Courtney's cameraman, and I got my throat slit, and I died on camera. And my death was one of them that caused an X rating initially, that Wes had to trim some frames to get an R. What do I think my character would be doing now if he didn't die in the movie? Well, Kenny probably would have worked his way up to producer, possibly an executive in tabloid media, and he probably would have died from congestive heart failure due to his poor dietary habits while going through a Me Too lawsuit. What was my favorite treat at craft services? Well, I gained a lot of weight before doing the movie, so I must say it was pretty much everything at craft services because I ate everything I could get my hands on. However, my least favorite treat from props department were the Cheetos. I've never been a fan of the cheese puff thing, so that was why, because I'm supposed to be eating all the time. So I started the whole playing with the cheese puffs simply because I didn't want to eat them. So that little bit of business in the movie was basically me not wanting to eat that thing.
It fell into my jacket and they pumped 3 gallons of red Caro syrup into my underwear. I was murdered by the Ghostface killer. I was supposed to be protecting Sidney Prescott, but I failed miserably because at a stoplight, the killer punched through the window and sliced my neck from ear to ear. I gagged on my own blood dying. I really wanted to die with my eyes open because I'd always seen that as a little kid in horror movies and I thought it was really cool. So I got to do the whole and then that was super fun. Blood was supposed to come through my fingertips, so when I brought my hand up, I had a little sponge filled with red Caro syrup that I was supposed to squeeze and it was supposed to come through my fingers, but Wes wanted to see more blood. Unfortunately, my hand was still sticky from the first take and the tape that was holding the tube came undone. So as I brought it up, it fell into my jacket and they pumped 3 gallons of red Caro syrup into my underwear. You know, they hinted in the movie that he may or may not be gay. I think he was. I just think it was the 90s, so it wasn't that easy to be out at work. I'd like to think that he'd be living his best life. He'd be promoted to a cushy office job. He'd be married to his male life partner. They'd have a couple kids and a dog. And they'd watch the Drew Barrymore show, of course. I really love a chocolate chip cookie, but when those weren't available, pretty much anything chocolate will do. Kit Kat, Twix, Toblerone, always get me through.